It is so incredibly easy to just listen to the traditional bhajan Achyutam Keshavam for its soothing melody. It's got that calming rhythm we all love. But in today's explainer, we're doing something a little different. We are going to decode the profound spiritual philosophy hiding literally right in plain sight within these beautiful, repetitive lyrics. Because underneath the surface of the music, this song is actually a fascinating masterclass on the very nature of devotion. It completely strips away complex theology to reveal a deeply personal spiritual meaning of Krishna. So let's get right into it.
Right off the bat, the lyrics hook us by posing this massively universal human doubt. Who says God doesn't come? Think about it. Have you ever felt totally disconnected? Like the divine is completely absent, just hiding out, or maybe even ignoring you in your day-to-day life? By asking this question so directly, the text calls us straight into the central spiritual mystery it wants to solve. It fully acknowledges that very real, very raw feeling of separation.
Okay, let's dive into this because there is a sharp contrast presented here. The text actively rejects the whole idea of a distant, unreachable, cosmic deity just floating out in the void, completely detached from our human experiences. Instead, it proposes something else entirely, an accessible, deeply personal presence, specifically through the figure of Krishna, that actually wants to interact with humanity on an intimate level. But that brings us right back to the big question, right? If he's so accessible, why don't we see him? Well, the song doesn't just leave us hanging. It gives us 3 highly specific emotional answers.
And that brings us to section 1, the call of Mira, unconditional longing. Let's take a look at this very first model of devotion presented in the lyrics.
The song intentionally repeats the question here to build some narrative momentum. Who says God doesn't come? It's asking us to pause, to really sit with that feeling of absence and yearning for a moment, right before it delivers a surprisingly direct and, honestly, challenging answer.
And here's that lyrical answer. The text essentially flips the script on the listener. Think about how powerful this shift in perspective really is. The quote-unquote problem of God not showing up, it isn't actually a problem with the divine at all. It's not that God is too busy or too far away. The real obstacle is actually the intensity of our call. The song gently but firmly tells us, you don't call him like Mira.
So we find here what we can call the Mira bond. Named after the legendary poet saint, this relationship is based purely on unconditional calling, an absolute, unfiltered longing. It's pretty amazing when you realize what this implies. Krishna responds to a heart that simply can't live without him. It's an emotional connection defined by intense, unyielding devotion. Basically, it tells us that the divine is drawn like a magnet to authentic, unwavering desire. But the lyrics don't stop at just longing. They move right into our second archetype. Section 2, Mother Yashoda's Lullaby, Intimate Care.
Again, we get this hypnotic, repeating motif. Who says God doesn't sleep? Just think about that for a second. We usually picture an all-knowing, unblinking, eternal force that never, ever tires, right? But the song directly challenges this notion of a detached, unfeeling deity by asking about one of the most basic, vulnerable human actions: sleep.
Now, what's really interesting about this next line is the incredible intimacy it describes. You don't lull him to sleep like Mother Yashoda. The lyrics are suggesting something truly profound here. The divine actually desires to be nurtured by humanity. God isn't just looking to rule from some high-up throne. God is looking to be cared for, to be comforted, and to genuinely experience human affection.
We can call this the Yashoda bond. It's an intimate, deeply maternal connection where the divine is treated with the vulnerability of a child. It is so radical in religious philosophy to think of treating the creator of the universe with the protective care you'd give a toddler. The song proves God's presence through this extreme closeness. It's telling us that Krishna can be experienced not just by worshiping him as a cosmic king, but by fiercely protecting and loving him.
Finally, this leads us to number 3, Dancing with the Gopis' Joyous Surrender.
Here, the lyrics ask the final iteration of this central doubt: who says God doesn't dance? It's such a wonderful question, isn't it? How does the divine express ultimate joy, rhythm, and movement alongside us?
This line is just so enthusiastic. You don't make him dance like the gopis. It shows us, plain and simple, that God actively participates in human joy. Krishna isn't sitting on the sidelines keeping score or judging our celebrations. No, he wants to be right in the center of them, moving in rhythm with those who love him, completely free of inhibition.
This crystallizes into the gopi bond. It's a joyous, active surrender to the divine through movement and devotion.
So looking at the source text, we now have this complete, beautiful triad of emotional bonds you can have with Krishna. We've got the unconditional longing of Mira, the maternal care of Yashoda, and the joyous surrender of the gopis. The text uses these three historical and mythological figures to map out very real, very accessible emotional states that absolutely any of us can cultivate.
So, the crucial point is, how do we apply this? This brings us to Section 4, Action and Devotion, the practical application.
We've talked about all these beautiful, poetic concepts, but the song is remarkably grounded. Let's see how this builds into everyday action. The lyrics break it down into incredibly clear, simple steps. Step 1, keep chanting the name. Keep the divine on your lips and in your awareness. Step 2, keep doing your work. Now this is absolutely vital. It doesn't say abandon your life and your duties. It explicitly says keep working. And step 3, meditate on Krishna at all times, just naturally weaving that awareness into the fabric of your day.
The logic here is profoundly practical. True devotion, according to this text, means integrating the spiritual directly into your daily labor. The song isn't asking you to run away to a forest or drop your family responsibilities. No way. It is teaching you that your desk, your home, your daily commute, the mundane tasks you do every single day, that is exactly where the devotion happens. You do your work, but you keep the divine in your thoughts, treating every single action as an offering. As we move into the final verses, the text shifts from instructing us to making Section 5, the ultimate promise, constant remembrance.
He will remember you sometime. The song offers this deep, comforting reassurance right here. Constant remembrance? It's a two-way street. If you are doing your work and keeping the divine in your thoughts, the divine cannot ignore you. The text assures us that this effort is literally never wasted. There is a reciprocal nature to devotion. The energy you put out is eventually, without a doubt, met by the divine presence.
And it concludes with this absolute certainty: Krishna will surely give a glimpse someday. It's such a powerful final promise from the lyrics. The spiritual meaning of Krishna isn't about escaping reality. It's about inviting the divine into the very center of your everyday life until that beautiful glimpse finally happens. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Based on these three incredible archetypes we explored today, how will you choose to invite the divine into your daily work tomorrow?